Week 6, day 1, Paul's journey begins. All right, we ended last week in our workbooks in Acts chapter 9, right after Paul had been confronted and converted by Jesus on the road to Damascus. All right, so picking up there today. All right, your workbooks have on page 145 a great little chart that helps us put dates on Paul's life by age. All right, so Paul was born in Tarsus, which is like in modern day Turkey. And when he was born, Jesus would have actually been about 10 or 12 years old. All right, Paul actually was educated down in Jerusalem as a Pharisee. That's not in your workbook. That's just bonus info. So Paul would have been 20 when Jesus was crucified. He was 24 when Jesus appeared to him on the road to Damascus, 36 on his first missionary journey to Lower Asia, 40 on his second missionary journey, and 43 on his third missionary journey. Both of those were to Asia all the way over to Greece. He was 47 when he was arrested and sent to Rome as a prisoner, and 57 when he died. We have actually a ton of information about Paul's missionary trips in the book of Acts. We know that on his first trip, Barnabas was his traveling companion. On his second was Timothy and Silas. And on his third missionary trip, he had lots of traveling companions. All right, so today in our workbooks, the first of Paul's letters are highlighted. All right, so Paul traveled to spread the good news and to plant churches. And then he would write letters back to these churches with instruction and encouragement and sometimes correction. And so the letters today in our workbook that we're going to look at are 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and Galatians. All right. So Paul originally preached to his fellow Jews, but he started preaching to the Gentiles when he met a lot of opposition from the Jews. And Paul met a lot of opposition in his ministry. All right. So in his own words from his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, actually, chapter 11, picking up at verse 23. Okay. So, this is Paul. I am out of my mind to talk like this. I have worked much harder, been in prison more frequently, been flogged more severely, been exposed to death again and again. 5 times I have received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I've constantly been on the move. I have been in danger from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, and in danger from false believers. I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst and have often gone without food. I have been cold and naked. And none of that stopped Paul from testifying about the love of Jesus. All right, so flip over just a couple of pages, and in his letter to the Galatians, Paul writes in the 3rd chapter, starting at verse 20, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. And that is how Paul lived his life. All right. So we're going to pick up tomorrow with the next 5 letters that Paul wrote to churches.